Here's the map of Europe, and I would say this is one of the more complicated maps just because there's so many countries on this map. And once again, I'm just going to go through the countries first and then go through the cities and waterways. That'll just be less complicated. And what I do is I take this map and I try to find a reference point. So as you can see, if you want to just look at this particular photo and kind of have a snapshot, that would be good. Now that you've had a snapshot of Europe, and you can keep referring back to that video just so you can see which countries are which. The reference point I was talking about for Europe, the one I like to use is Germany. So Germany is this country right here. It's a very large country in the middle of Europe, so it's very easy to find. If you use your map that you can get from the bookstore, or I'm not sure if the teachers provide those, but if you can get a copy of these maps so that you can study, then you will be able to see exactly this. You'll see like this large yellow one right here. And so what I do is, once I find Germany, then I know where to find a lot of other countries. Because I consider, okay, World War II, Germany invaded a neighboring country and helped start the war. So that Germany invaded Poland right here. So that's how I find Poland. So say Germany invaded Poland, this large kind of whitish colored one. And then in turn, I can consider that Germany has over and over invaded France over here. So this large country over here, France, it's also called the hexagon, if you want to kind of think about that, France, the hexagon, because you can kind of see it has that sort of shape. So that will help you find Poland and France. Additionally, Germany, I believe this was in World War I, that Germany went through Belgium to get to France. So I have Germany, Belgium, and France. And also, I look just south of Germany. Think of like The Sound of Music, like Austria. If you like, I like to use history or movies or things like that to help me remember. Think about the German-speaking country. It's just to the south of Germany. It covers a very large border right here. So just south, this one's Austria. And then I look at these countries as in kind of pairs. So these are a pair right here, and then these are a pair right here. Because it used to be Austria-Hungary. So that means I know that this is Austria and this is Hungary. Then also think about the whole incident with the Sudetenland, and you have it was Czechoslovakia at the time. So you have Czech Republic and Slovakia. So if you can kind of remember those as being, they used to be, each be like solid countries. You can be like Czechoslovakia, oh okay, Czech Republic, Slovakia. Like, oh, Austria-Hungary, oh wait, it's Austria, then Hungary. Now you can see this one, the boot is Italy. Maybe you can think of Italian leather boots or something. That'll help you remember Italy. And then right in the middle of them, right here, is Switzerland. And I consider that because they kind of form like, these other countries form sort of petals around this one central point. And people like to refer to Switzerland as being neutral. So you can say this country, like, I'm neutral in Switzerland. It's in between all of them. It's right in the middle of everything, staying neutral. So in Switzerland, neutral, right in the middle. Next, I look at these countries right beside Italy. And I'm going to kind of go down them like this. And once again, since this one isn't labeled, I mean, this will help you remember them, just because you're forced to kind of look at a map that's blank and kind of consider, okay, which one is this? Oh wait, this one, oh, it's Germany. Oh, this one, it's France. That kind of thing. It's important to use a blank map to practice. Well, right beside Italy is this little country right here. And I think of it, it's Slovenia. And it kind of makes me think of like a Slavic country, like in Eastern Europe. But then it kind of has this, the name sort of has this kind of like Italian sort of tinge to the name. So I like to say Slovenia. And that literally helps me remember it. I go Slovenia. It's right beside Italy. So literally say it. Just say it with me when I point. Okay, which country is this? Right, it's Slovenia. And then right beside it is this country, this is Croatia. Croatia is kind of shaped like a C, or maybe you think it's shaped like a crow, like a bird. So Croatia, shaped like a C. Then right beside it, there's two countries right here. You got Bosnia, it's Bosnia-Herzegovina, and then Serbia. If you consider there's that genocide in Bosnia, if you've seen Behind Enemy Lines, or just learned about it in history, you can consider these two countries right here. Maybe you want to remember that it's B and then S, kind of B and then S, so Bosnia and then Serbia. And just think about it as Bosnia instead of Bosnia-Herzegovina, because that'll be kind of difficult to just keep saying in your mind over and over because it's such a long name. As long as you remember Bosnia and write out the rest, you've got it. Next, I look at this little section right here. And one thing that's important with maps is to remember them in sections. It's just like if you remember songs, maybe you've remembered thousands of lyrics, but you didn't remember them or memorize them all at once. You memorize them in sections, like song by song, verse by verse. So it's just like with a map, you just split it up into sections. Like you split up this section, and then you have this section right here, and then in turn we have this section over here. That will really help kind of cut down the study time. So looking right here, this section, I look at this right here, and this is Greece. And I kind of think about it, it looks like a splatter of Greece maybe, because there's all these little islands. So for this one, it's Greece, looks just like a splatter of Greece. And then over here is Turkey, and I think of Turkey, Greece. So if you want to do that, Turkey, Greece, that'll help you. And then right above it, this is Albania, Macedonia, and Bulgaria. And I kind of make an acronym. I do AMB right above Greece. So AMB, think about it, maybe you're sitting in front of the TV eating some greasy potato chips and you're watching the AMC. It's like some TV channel thing, but instead of AMC, it's AMB. So remember that, AMB. And it's Albania, Macedonia, and Bulgaria. And also I think of Macedonia, because I think of Greece, I think of like ancient Greece. And so Macedonia is near it because like Macedonia, it makes me think of mastodons. So it's like ancient mastodons, like mammoths. So maybe you can associate those. And then also Albania, I remember because it sounds like Albany, New York. And I would like to go to New York and to Greece. Those are two places I'd like to visit. So maybe you can remember it that way, or just any way that helps you to make associations like this. Then right above it, I look at this section right here, and first of all, it's Belarus, Ukraine, Moldova, and Romania. And I do the acronym BUMMER, so it's B-U-M-R, so BUMMER, starting with this green one here. And it helps me find where the acronym starts, because I know this one's Ukraine because it's such a large country. Think about it like a crane, like a giant machine, like a giant crane. It's like Ukraine. So that will be the U. So B-U-M-R, BUMMER. So that makes this Belarus, Ukraine, Moldova, and Romania. So that'll help you with those. So now we've got most of Europe finished here. Let's look over here. These three countries, this one is not on your test. This is something different. But these three countries right here, it's E-L-L, so L, E-L-L. And it has a rhythm to it. It's Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. And I just kind of say them over and over, like Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, because it just has a rhythm. And so I can say them in that order, memorize them in that order. That's what helps me out. I look up here in the Scandinavian countries. It's Norway, Sweden, and Finland. And I look at them like this one is Finland because it has the little green fins right here. And then Norway goes the farthest north, and it's like kind of white, like ice. So Norway, north, Finland, Finns, and in the middle one is Sweden. And then right here is Denmark. I think of the movie Beowulf, like there's the Danes and the Swedes and the Norse people, and then I think there was some people from England, so like Anglo-Saxons and stuff. So Denmark, or think of this too. You can say like a Danish, like the dessert. You got Danish, Belgium waffles, French crepes. So Danish, Denmark, Belgian waffles, French crepes. That'll help get you these three right there. This one right here in the middle is the Netherlands. And kind of think about it, it's at the very top of Europe, away from everything else. So think of like the netherworld, it means like under. So Netherlands is kind of farther away from the rest of Europe. It's like at the edge, kind of getting away from the rest of civilization here. So that's just how I remember it. Now this is, think about these as the British Isles. Why are they called the Isles? It's islands right here, British Isles. So you got the United Kingdom. And it's the United Kingdom because you got Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and then England. So the United Kingdom is right here. And if you remember this is Northern Ireland, that'll help you get this, which is the Republic of Ireland. And you can look at your list. You'll have your list on the test. So just seeing the names, it'll help you remember. Like you'll say, oh, Northern Ireland. Oh, it's something attached to what is the Republic of Ireland. You'll see that it's this country right here. Up here's Iceland. It's white, it's far to the north, kind of out in the ocean here. That'll help you remember Iceland. The last one here is Spain and Portugal. And I kind of think of like colonization. You had French colonies and Spanish colonies and Portuguese colonies. And so like North America, you had a lot of, like for us in the United States, you got the English. And then South America, you got a lot of Spanish and Portuguese. And then France, of course, you have in the Caribbean and throughout the world. So think about too, most of South America and Central America speak Spanish. And then Brazil it's a very large country, but it's just one country out of all of them. They speak Portuguese. So there's fewer speaking Portuguese. So it's the smaller one right here. And then next, let me see the list here. Okay, I've gone over all of the countries, I believe. Now next, I'm going to talk about the cities. So, in Spain, we have Madrid, if you're a soccer fan, or anything like that, or you're just interested in Spain, think of Madrid, Spain. It's in the middle of the third river of Spain, like the middle as in the middle part that's actually in Spain. So just right in the middle of the middle river is where Madrid is, and you'll get it. Then next is we have Switzerland, excuse me, and the city there is Geneva. Think Switzerland neutral. So what's going to be there? It's going to be the city that has to do with like maybe unity or neutrality. You have Geneva, the home of the United Nations, and the country kind of points to it. So think about it pointing to neutrality to the UN. It's pointing to Geneva, so it's right there in this little finger that's of land right there. Now in Great Britain or the United Kingdom, so Great Britain is actually just the island here. London is toward the south. Think about it like the London Olympics. London wants to be closer to the continent so that there can be trade and travel and everything of that nature. So just find the river. As you can see right here, it kind of dips down right there. And just south of that dip, you can put London right there. So that'll help you find where London is. Let me look at this map here. Also, it's kind of near this little kind of bay sort of thing right here. So kind of between this little dip in the river and this dip, put London there. They give you some leeway of where it can be, but try to get as close as possible. Like sometimes I will just research it on the internet so I know exactly where it is. But then once I do, I already know kind of the general geographical landmarks to look for. Well, landmarks. The next, we got Brussels. Think of Brussels in Belgium. Because like we had this whole discussion about food. We had the Danish, and we had Belgian waffles, and we had French crepes. Well, also in Belgium is Belgian Brussels. Like think of Brussels sprouts, and so Brussels, and it's a green as well. So green Brussels sprouts, and it's almost in the middle, but it's toward the coast. So if you can kind of get it, like you see where the Netherlands ends right above it, you go just south of that in the middle of the country, right about there, you will see where Brussels is. And once again, you can refer to the other video when it shows where they are exactly. Next, we got Berlin. Oh wait, let's go back to Paris. My bad. Okay, France, of course, Paris, France. Just say that over and over. Think of the Eiffel Tower, capital, France, it's Paris. Paris, France. So on this river, the Seine, it's kind of dark. If you have a map, let me kind of zoom in a little bit. Nope, zoom in. You can kind of see the river starts getting dark, or is dark right here, then it stops getting dark and it's just a thin blue line. Well, right as where it stops getting dark, that's where Paris is. So that'll be easy just to find Paris. So let me kind of zoom back out. Okay, now let's do Berlin. Okay, look at Germany. And remember, it was split between East and West Germany in the Cold War, because you guys are in a contemporary world, so I'm sure you've talked about that. But you'll remember maybe that Berlin was actually, it was split internationally, held in control internationally, but it was in the eastern side. So I guess it was on the other side of the Iron Curtain, so to speak. And so this river right here splits off the eastern section of Germany. And Berlin is right beside where it dips in right up there. So right there is where you put Berlin. And then you can just say Berlin, Germany. Think of the Berlin Wall, all of that. Then Poland, the city you need to find is Warsaw. Think about the Warsaw Pact in the east. Because we had NATO, that's the treaty we created, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, to help unify countries, to help kind of defend each other, etc. Well, the Soviet Union wanted to create kind of a response to that, so they created the Warsaw Treaty. Well, Warsaw is in Poland, and you can see it's right in the middle of these it's two rivers, but three rivers that are touching right here is where, like right in the middle of those. That's where you put Warsaw. And think about it, war is 3 letters, saw is 3 letters, and it's 3 rivers. Just find the 3 branches and put it right in the middle, that's Warsaw. Next, we have Prague. It kind of looks like Prague, Prague, Prague. Think about Czech Republic, because you've already labeled them. You can remember it used to be Czechoslovakia, but now it's Czech Republic and Slovakia. Think about Prague as kind of like the high fashion city, kind of high class town or city in Europe. So think you got to write a Czech in Prague. So it's in the Czech Republic, write a Czech in Prague. And once again, you find the little river, and it's kind of toward the top. It's sort of in the middle of the river, but it's kind of toward the top of it, and that's where you will put Prague. Next, we have Rome, and many people maybe already know that Rome is in Italy. Just think of Rome, think of the Vatican within Rome, the Roman Empire, all that kind of thing. And look at the boot. Rome is kind of, I think, right above the knee of the boot. You see it kind of makes this little knee shape right there. Then like the land starts getting flat, or like the border is kind of flat, the coast. Just right above the knee, right up here, this is where you're going to put Rome. Next, you need to know Budapest. And Budapest, think of, this is just an example for memorization purposes only, but think of Buddha is kind of, usually they have lots of statues, people have Buddha statues that are overweight, but even though that's not exactly accurate, but they have, think of Buddha's really hungry, so Buddha is in Hungary, so it's in the middle, so you see this river going through the middle, think it's toward the top river, so it's right right near this little crook of the river at the top. Think that Buddha has to reach to the very top shelf to get food. He's so hungry. He's reaching up here. So that's where Budapest is. Next, you need to find Istanbul. And Istanbul is in Turkey. And you see these two fingers of land that touch each other right here as part of Turkey. Is kind of separating kind of like the Middle Eastern land from the European land, I suppose. Istanbul is on the finger that's on the European side. And it used to be Constantinople, named after Constantine. Then it was Byzantium, because of the Byzantine Empire. Now it is Istanbul, as the Muslims came and took over this city. So Istanbul is right there. Also, there's one more country that I failed to mention, and that is Montenegro. And Montenegro, you actually have to draw on your map. Even I had to do it. They've just never changed it. You see where Serbia is? There's this little square of land right here. You just chop it off. You draw a line or a dotted line, and then you make this little section, Montenegro. And you can see that on this map. See how the line is dotted right there? That's how you do it. What else? So we have Rome, we have Madrid, Geneva, Brussels, Paris, Prague, Berlin, Warsaw, Istanbul, Budapest, London. Okay, we've got all of those cities. Now next we need to do the waterways. Up here is the North Sea. Think about it, it's in the very north of Europe. North Sea, north. Then you have the Mediterranean Sea, of course. It's the largest sea right here. Then you have the Aegean Sea by Greece, this little inlet right here. And think of like maybe GA or AG, like the Aegean Sea. Maybe you could think AG, just because that's the first two letters of the sea. So AG by Greece, so Greece and G. And then Adriatic Sea right here. I think of Adrian went to Italy. Adrian went to Italy. That's how I find the Adriatic Sea. Adrian went to Italy. Up here, we have the Black Sea, and I think of it as this. This is Turkey. So there's Black Forest ham, but I could say Black Forest Turkey. So I say Black Forest Turkey, so I can get the Black Sea in Turkey. That's how I do it. Up here, we have the Baltic Sea. I think of Baltic, it just sounds kind of harsh and cold. So it's up here in kind of the north in Scandinavia and near Eastern Europe and farther north in Europe, so it's much chillier. So I think Baltic. So that's how I remember that. And of course over here we have the Atlantic Ocean. And up here we'll have the Arctic Ocean. And that is it for Europe.